Continue to follow a developing story. Police need your help locating a missing woman. They say 46-year-old Ann Bond didn't show up to work this morning, and nobody's heard from her today. Bossier Parish deputies are searching her home in the 1000 block of Wimple Road. KTBS 3's crime reporter Sarah Maki was there earlier and joins us live in the studio with more on how this all unfolded. And Sarah, when was the last time anyone saw Bond?
Well, Devin, Lieutenant Bill Davis says Ann or Annie Bond and her husband had friends over to that Bossier Parish house last night. Now they're concerned because nobody's seen her today. Her car is still at the house and there are some red flags. Police are thoroughly searching the Bond's home. Ann and her husband, Robert or Robbie Bond, have been living separately for a few weeks now, but there were talks about reconciliation, that they were working it out. Now again, they were together last night. Officers did find what they believe are drops of blood on the driveway. They also brought in a canine, but that didn't turn up anything. Now the search continues.
We just want to uncover every stone we can, and what we see in the driveway is suspected blood.
The investigation into the disappearance of this Bossier woman, 46-year-old Annie Bond, it now stretches all the way to Goshen, Mississippi. There are several new developments today that we need to get to.
But first, the quick backstory. Authorities began the search for Bond when she failed to show up for work yesterday. When officers arrived at the Bond home on Wimple Road, they found evidence, possibly blood, on the driveway that led them to believe foul play was involved in her disappearance.
So the search was then on for Mrs. Bond and her estranged husband, 53-year-old Robert Bond. And here's what we know right now. Robert Bond was spotted early this morning in his truck at a rest stop off I-10 in southern Mississippi. When officers tried to make contact with him, they say he pulled a gun and shot himself in the head, but they say he is not dead. Now, around the same time this morning, the Bossier Sheriff's Office had issued a warrant charging him with second-degree murder, though as Mr. Bond clings to life, there is still no sign of his wife. More details now with KTBS 3's Crystal Whitman. She's been on the story all day today. So, Crystal, what have you learned?
Well, Jerry, right now investigators are checking around property that Bond owns in Webster and Bossier Parish. Now, earlier yesterday, investigators made contact with Bond, who, according to them, agreed to assist them in the search for his wife. He never showed up. The sheriff's office says that physical evidence was found at the couple's home. Now, according to Sheriff Julian Whittington, his teams of investigators are working under the belief that Annie is possibly dead.
We believe that the vehicle that he was later found in over in Mississippi was what we believe he did remove the body. Yes, in.
You would never have expected this to happen. Of course, that's the way it usually goes. Is your next door neighbor or anybody you don't, suspect that anything's going on until it does happen.
Possible new developments in the case of this missing Bossier Parish woman.
4 days now, authorities have been searching for Annie Bond, as many of you know, and at this hour, they may have a break in the case with the discovery of charred remains in North Webster Parish. Specifically, we're talking about an area about 12 miles north of Minden on Pruitt Road.
And live now, KTBS 3's Amy Vetrano. Amy, what's the situation there now?
Well, Devin, both Bossier and Webster Parish Sheriff deputies are still down this gravel road investigating the scene where those charred remains were found about noon today. The Faces Lab out of LSU and Baton Rouge is here on the scene investigating, and they have confirmed that those remains are in fact human.
Detectives are looking at tire tracks and just combing over the area just to see what all we can find out that will lead us to what happened.
Up at 6, continuing coverage of the case of a Bossier woman who has been missing for a few days now.
Charred human remains found in Webster Parish Monday have been positively identified as Annie Bond.
Another piece of this very heartbreaking puzzle now put into place. Sheriff Whittington even praised the Bond family for their role in helping to locate Annie and to bring the case to this point. Annie Bond's remains were found in a wooded area about 9 miles north of Minden in the Evergreen community. It's an area Robert Bond is known to frequent. Her body was sent to Baton Rouge's Faces Crime Lab for identification, and Whittington says they got the call just before 9:30 this morning that dental records were used to confirm that ID. He says he's thankful to have at least been able to provide this amount of closure to the Bond family.